I have an emotional soft spot for the striped pajama sharks now, the ones that came in were cuddling up, and I was stimulating their ampullae on their nose and turning them over, and I became like a shark masseuse down there.
Now, I am super excited going in on 35 years of Shark Week, and we're heading to South Africa to look at some really strange creatures with alien sharks, strange new worlds. Tell me about what fans can expect to see as we dive deep with these sharks.
With pleasure. So South Africa has an unbelievable subaquatic environment. You know, this incredibly biodiverse and rich kelp forest that is really a habitat that stands alone and doesn't look like anything else. When you think about Shark Week, you think about white sand beaches, clear blue water, and big toothy sharks. And this really flips it all on its head. We got cold, stormy, murky seas, big, tall kelp forests, and most importantly, the coolest sharks, not the ones that get all the media and the spotlight and the attention, not your white sharks, your tiger sharks, and your bull sharks, but underrepresented, unique organisms that truly occur nowhere else in the world and have just such unique morphological and behavioral adaptations that they stand above the rest. And so my goal with this whole thing is to make people fall in love with the little guys, the guys that you're not usually seeing on Shark Week or anywhere else.
Yes, I love it. We're bringing up the little guys. Was there one species that you were especially like, I can't wait for everyone to see these?
Well, going into it, no, because you never know what you're going to get and you always hope for the best. But coming out of it, I have an emotional soft spot for the striped pajama sharks now, the ones that came in were cuddling up, and I was stimulating their ampullae on their nose and turning them over, and I became like a shark masseuse down there. And I never knew I would fall in love so much with a small stripy species of shark. And I hope that translates on camera, because I was just smitten by those sharks. And then to have them mate in front of us, which I think is the first time that's ever been captured on film, it was an incredible experience for myself and the crew. And I just absolutely fell in love with those animals.
Now, like you said, we think of Shark Week, we think of great white sharks, we think of tiger sharks, that kind of thing. What's important to you about elevating these less represented species for everyone to know about?
Well, the big guys always get all the press. And so we know that we need to protect white sharks and tiger sharks and bull sharks and things like that. What people don't understand is that the foundation of the ecosystem actually comes from those mesopredators, those in-between species. And it's really important to fall in love with them so that we can protect and preserve them. And so, that's a very fragile ecosystem that we were in there in South Africa. And if it's not protected correctly, all those species will disappear and everything will collapse, including the big guys that we're used to looking at on Shark Week. So I want people to understand how cool these animals are so that they understand the value in protecting them and preserving their ecosystem.
What are the biggest threats to this kind of mesopredator that is really facing them in this moment?
The biggest threats to our oceans in general is overfishing, and climate change is another one, but that's all a derivative in the case of the ocean of overfishing and overharvesting. And it's very challenging, and I am a realist. I don't ever think that we should give up fishing globally or anything like that, because it's not realistic. 80% or so of the world obtains their protein from the ocean. But the problem is it will eventually reach a tipping point if it's not managed accurately. And once we reach that tipping point, that leads to total collapse. And that's something a lot of people don't realize, right? If we overfish the oceans to the point of full collapse, everything goes away. The whole world, the human population disappears, because we rely on the ocean for oxygen. We rely on the ocean for protein. We rely on the ocean for rain. We rely on the ocean for so many things. And the world, I think we forget that as we sit in our cushy offices and chat on Zoom, because we're so disconnected from it. And so just understanding that threats to the ocean really come from overharvesting, and overharvesting comes from lack of protection. So once we love these things, we can protect them. And then once we can protect them, it really makes everybody win. The fish, the fishermen, us sitting in our offices, you name it.
Now, I loved falling in love with these kind of sharks that I didn't know about before. And it was quite the adventure to find them. You, as someone who have seen quite the amount of cool stuff in your time, what was it about this adventure that made it so special for you?
one really fun thing is that this is the revamp of an existing franchise called Alien Sharks. It was quite a successful franchise for a few years, and then it went away. And I think what was so fun is when I initially started speaking with Discovery about redoing this franchise of Alien Sharks, they sort of told me, like, this can just be a show and tell of weird sharks. And that's like the coolest thing ever as a biologist, because we don't have to have such a specific mission that we have to go out and do one thing and focus on one species. I can literally pop down to South Africa, swim around and be like, how cool is this? How cool is this? Check this out. Isn't this amazing? And so to be able to go down there and not have the immense pressure that I've had with some of my other shows, like finding an extinct creature or darting and moving a herd of elephants, or some of the other really, really high stress items that I've done in my past, and to be able to just sort of swim along and show everybody how cool the world is a really fun thing. And I think that's what excites me the most, is this gives me an opportunity to truly do show and tell of unique species.
That's awesome. A nice relaxing Shark Week for you.
So, yeah, I would never go that far, but yes.
Now, this is the 35th year of Shark Week. Do you have any favorite Shark Week moments of past years or maybe of this year that you're really looking forward to talking about or remembering?
Yeah, I mean, Shark Week's iconic. You know, it's the same age as I am, and so I love it every year. I have done for as long as I can remember. Everybody always loves seeing the white sharks leap out of the water. For me, it's about seeing those rare gems of unique animals and unusual situations. Last year, we filmed the first ever in history Papuan epaulet sharks walking out of the water, literally leaving the ocean and walking on land. And that was an incredible moment. Several years prior, in South Africa as well, we uncovered not one, not two, but 3 species of shark that have been lost to science that the world thought was extinct. And all 3 of those moments, I'm getting goosebumps just reliving it in my head, were just absolutely incredible for me. So this may be selfish because I'm only talking about my own shows and my own experiences, but being able to travel the world and see these really unique creatures and some of their unique behaviors, for me, it just stands above the rest.
Awesome. Well, here's to another 35 years of Shark Week. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thanks, Anna.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you so much.
Take care.